Welcome. This is Algebra 3, and we are looking at lesson 1, 2, the first day of 1, 2. There are 2 days of this lesson, and just a quick recap on how to add and subtract real numbers, and let's go through it. So adding and subtracting numbers with decimals, it's maybe been a while since you've done that by hand. So the first chapter, chapter 1, has 4 units to it. And the unit test, chapter 1 unit test, will be a test where you are not able to use your calculator. So I really strongly encourage you to do this by hand so that you're brushed up on that technique. So I'm going to take negative 4.5, add it with negative 3.2. Notice I'm lining up my decimal places. So by that I mean, look at how I've got them aligned. So I can definitely tell where my decimal place will be positioned once I finish my problem. Since I had 2 negatives, they're going to add up to make more negatives. So I'm going to just simply proceed with addition. 5 and 2 make 7. 4 and 3 make 7. My decimal place stays in alignment there. And of course, the answer is negative because I'm adding 2 negatives. So I get negative 7.7. For B, just a little bit more decimal positions here. So I'm going to take 5.375. I notice they're both positive numbers. So I'm going to be just adding the 2 numbers together like normal. Notice once again, I was careful when I position my decimal place so that I have things in alignment. You know what? I'm going to use some color here. That will add together. These 2 numbers are going to add together. We're using yellow. Those 2 numbers add together, and there's my decimal place. That's where people mess up, is they just don't keep things in alignment, and you've got to. So 5 and basically 0 add to 5. 7 and 3 make 10, add a 1 or carry a 1. I get a 4 plus 2 is 6. 5 and 0 make 5. My decimal place is going to go right there. So I get an answer of 5.605. Now, if you don't trust yourself, like it's been a while since you've done these by hand, double check them on your calculator. Why not, right? Be sure that you're learning as you do these problems. Don't just do them to get them done. Make sure they're right. All right, when I scanned through C, my eyes quickly did a left to right pattern, and I noticed I've got some addition, got some subtraction, and oh my goodness, what were those symbols there? That's right, they're absolute values, aren't they? So we're going to do a little absolute value work on this problem as well. That's where I'm going to start, because absolute values really can act like a grouping symbol. So within my absolute value, I get negative 12 plus a 22. Now, the absolute value of negative 12 will be positive 12. So I'm going to get plus 12 plus 22. And now I'm ready to proceed with the 3 summings that need to happen, or the 2 sums of the 3 numbers. Negative 7 and 12 make 5. 5 and 22. 5 and 22. 27, how about? There we go. On to the next problem. Example number 2, subtracting with decimals. And we've got 3 problems we're going to go through on this one. First one deals with money. Because the signs are different, because in my mind I see this as positive and I see this one as a negative. Remember, we can always think of plus minus, right? Subtraction is nothing more than adding a negative. So they are different. That means we are going to subtract. I'm going to be very careful again setting up my decimals so that everything is in perfect alignment. This is indeed a subtraction problem. So, change color of ink. I need to take 0 minus 3, but 0 is not big enough, so I need to borrow. That will go down to a 9. I'm borrowing over, but I didn't really have anything to borrow there, so I borrow again. That's going to drop to a 9. And I finally encounter a number that I can really take 1 away from, and that'll drop that to a 0. So I get 10 minus 3 is 7. 9 minus 6 is 3. 9 minus 6 again is 3. And then I've got 0 minus 0 is 0. That decimal positioning stays in alignment. Oh, and since we were dealing with money, we better get our money symbol in there. So I've got $3.37. Maybe I went to McDonald's and bought a meal and it was $6.63 and I had a 10, right? Got 337 and change. All right, E. E. Can I see it all? Yeah, I'm seeing an alphabet, I guess. E, 7.8 plus negative 4.951. Oh, this should be fun. Opposite signs, because in my head I see positive and a negative. So I'm going to line 7.8, take away from it 4.951. I'm going to need some placeholders there. So I'm going to add or introduce some zeros. And we've got borrowing going on again, don't we? So we're going to borrow. That's going to take this to a 10. I'm going to borrow from that 0. I'm dropping it to a 9. So it's kind of like I treat it like a 10. I drop it to a 9. And then I really can drop this one from 8 to 7. Excuse me. All right, away we go. I think we're ready to roll. Trying to decide color here. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 minus 5 is 4. 7 minus 9. Not big enough. 7 is not large enough. Okay, borrow again. Reducing 7 to 6 and borrowing that unit back. So I get 17 minus 9 is 8. Decimal position. 6 minus 4 is 2. It will be positive because I had a larger positive than when I had a negative. 2.849. Check it out on your calculator. All right, 54.207 minus 68.3. All right, we have a positive number and a negative number. And I need to find a difference between them because they're opposite signs. So in my head, I know I'm finding a difference, correct? And I know I have more negatives than I have positives, so my answer will turn out to be negative. But to find that difference, I'm going to put the larger of the values on top. So I'm going to put the 68 on top, the 54,207 on the bottom, so I can find a difference. I'm going to subtract them. I know it doesn't look like I've got negative and positive, but right now I'm more concerned about finding that difference between the numbers, and then I'll assign the resulting negative at the end on my answer. All right, we got some borrowing to do here. Let's fill in our 0, 0 so we can have perfect alignment of the 3 columns there of decimals. This will go to a 10, won't it? Okay, so I got a 10 there. This will drop to a 9. I can finally take a number from the 3, giving it a 2. 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 0 is 9. 2 minus 2 is 0. Decimal place in position. 8 minus 4 is 4. 6 minus 5 is 1. So I'm going to have an answer that is negative because this was a larger negative than we had positive. And I'm going to have negative 14.093. Very good. What you could do if you wanted to check is we could add these two numbers back together. Their result should get us back to our original problem or the original number of 68.3. It's always a good double check. All right, example number 3. This is our final example. Adding and subtracting fractions. Remember, you need to use like denominators. So that means we've got to find that common denominator between either 2, 3 fractions, whatever we're dealing with. On G, we just have 2 fractions. What is a number that both 5 and 3 will go into? Yeah, I think I hear you. It's 15. So I need to make common denominator is 15. So I'm headed for 15 on both of these. That means I'm going to take 1/5, multiply it by something. I'm going to take negative 2/3, multiply it by something to get me into 15ths. So in order to get 5 to 15, I need to multiply by 3. So I'm multiplying by 3 over 3 to make that happen. Multiplying by 3 over 3, we know that's like multiplying by a fancy 1. All right, on the other one, I need to make 15, so that's going to indicate I need to multiply by 5. A 5 over 5 is like multiplying by 1, no harm done to our overall problem. So I take 1 times 3 and get 3/15. Negative 2 times 5 gives me negative 10/15. Add the numerators together, and then I've got that common denominator of 15. It looks like our final answer is going to be a negative 7/15. Replay that one if it went too fast for you. All right, down below. What's the first thing you noticed? First thing I noticed, and minus. I'm going to make this problem easier. Let's think of it as addition. I really have negative 7/8 plus 5/24, right? Why think negative? It's more difficult. Common denominator. Okay, so common denominator. Between 8 and 24. Common denominator is going to be 24. I will only have to change one of the fractions this time. That makes a little bit lighter work. That doesn't even look like a 7. Negative 7/8 times something, add with it the 5/24. So in order to make this to get a 24, I'm going to multiply by 3 over 3. That takes us into negative 21/24 plus 5/24. There's that beautiful common denominator of 24. So I have negative 21 plus 5. Difference between 21 and 5. 21 minus 5 is 16. Of course, it will be negative because the larger of the two numbers was negative. It's negative 16/24. Ooh, this thing can reduce, can it? I guess we should take that opportunity to reduce it. I can divide both by 4, and I will do so. So that's going to give me a negative 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. I didn't choose big enough. Let's divide by 2. See, it'll all work out. Negative 2/3. What I could have done, and probably some of you were thinking, why didn't she divide by 8? Because 8 is in common to both of them. Yes, if I would have divided by 8 right away, I would have got to that negative 2/3. But it's lovely because math is great, right? As long as you follow the set rules, we will always get the same answer. All right, that takes us to the end. Here are the problems in the problem set for today. You are working on page 21. This comes from section 1-2. Always when you set up your paper for us in classroom, please put down this information, especially if you are absent and you turn it in. I know exactly what homework problem set you're working on. So section 1-2, page 21. You are doing all of these, and you are using your brain power to do these. No calculators today, okay? Check with a calculator if you like, but there's the problem set. Have a great day. Let's see. Now finding the stop button here.